So you have a PayPal account and you want to get it set up so that you can automatically send out an email when you make a sale or automatically send out a thank you email when you get a donation on PayPal. I'm going to show you how to do that using a tool called Zapier. Zapier is basically a program that will connect other programs together, allowing you to automate tasks. So what it does is it listens for different triggers, and when it hears those triggers, then it shoots off an action in another program. So in this case, it's listening for a PayPal donation or a PayPal sale. And when it hears that trigger, it automatically shoots off an email using an email program. One caveat, there are free Zaps that you can set up with certain programs, but PayPal, because it is one of the premium Zaps, if you want to use this, I believe the minimum is like $20 a month. In order to get this set up, they have different plans and pricing here. The starter plan using premium apps is $20 a month, so full disclosure there, just so you know. What you're gonna do is once you get logged in and signed up with Zapier, there's gonna be this black button at the top left called Make a Zap. You'll click on that and you'll search for the triggering app, which is PayPal. And you'll select that. Now it's gonna have triggering event. In this case, we wanna do successful sale. Even if it's a donation, that's the one that you're gonna use. And then you'll click continue. And at this point, I've already configured it with my PayPal account, so I'm just blurring this out. But there should be an option here to connect it to your PayPal account, and basically you'll just do, I believe it's OAuth, it'll authenticate with your PayPal account, and then you'll move on to the next step. And here it'll have a test trigger where it looks for test data. And so in this case, it'll basically give you a bunch of information that you'll see. Basically, these are all variables and there's just test data in here. But if let's say that someone actually, purchased something through PayPal or made a donation, you would see their email address, any information that they provided to you that you need, an address to ship stuff to, their name, the amount. This MC gross is the amount that they donated or sent. PayPal fees. There's just a whole boatload of information. Now, obviously, I'm not blurring this out because this isn't an actual sale. This is just test data, but these are the variable names that you'll need to work with in the next steps. So you'll click continue. At this point, you could instantly jump to the email, or you could set up a filter. I personally have a filter where anything above $50, they get access to a course that I've set up. Whereas if it's below $50 and it's just a donation, they get a thank you email from me, and it's just a donation to support the work that I'm doing. So as you can see here with the filters, there's a ton of different filters from first name, last name, all of this. And MC gross is the amount that they donate, or the total amount of the sale minus any fees. And the condition, basically what we're wanting to look for is if it's less than a certain amount, then they're just going to get a thank you. So I could put in a variable, but I'm actually going to enter the dollar amount here as $50. Then I'm going to do continue. And it'll say your Zap would have continued. So basically the sample data, the MC gross was 25. Because it's less than 50, then it would have continued. If, on the other hand, if we alter that and change it from less than to greater than number, and then we hit continue, it says your Zap would not have continued because obviously $50 is more than 25. But we're going to keep it at less than, and we will continue. So now that it has that filter, it basically says, okay, you got a sale and it passed this filter. Then the next step is going to be, what do you want to fire off? So in this case, there's actually a built-in email application with Zapier, so you don't need to use an external program. You can set this up in conjunction with an email service like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or any number of, I think Aweber as well works with Zapier. I do have that set up for Patreon, where when something happens, it'll trigger a tag. But in this case, if you just need it to send off an email and you don't really need anything else, you're not storing any information, it's just a one-time event, then this email by Zapier works just fine. We're going to do send an outbound email, continue to the email address of the payer. The subject, we're going to have thank you for your donation. And then you can type in the body of the email here. If you want to personalize it, you can actually put in variables in the email itself. So for example, I can grab the first name here and then put a comma, and it'll say Dear Bob or Dear, Jim or whoever it was that donated. So then you can do attachments. You can have it work with other programs and stuff. If let's say that you have a PDF stored on your Google Drive that you want to send to them, you could connect that in another step. You would have to have an additional step above this where you pull a particular PDF from Google Drive, and then you could put that in as an attachment. In this case, we're going to skip it. From name, I'm just going to manually put my name in. Reply to, in this case, I'm just going to do no reply email, but you could put your own personal email address in here if you want them to reply to it. And we'll hit continue. So now this is the email that they're going to get. It's going to say to, it's going to have their email address, thank you, and then it'll say from Thomas Westbrook, the email that it says that it's from, and the message. So we'll do test and review. If you want to test this out and actually see what the email looks like, because right now obviously it has HTML tags and stuff here in the preview, that none of those should show up in the actual email. So if you actually want to physically test this, when you set up the action, you could put the email address here as your own email address. So I could do my email and then continue. And we'll do test and continue. An outbound email was sent to the email by Zapier. So yeah, there you go. Here's the email address showed up in my inbox. Now, the one thing that I don't like about this is that the email address that it's from is a Zapier email. And personally, I like it to say that it's actually from my personal email address. So ideally, the best way to go about this would be to link it up with your email service, either ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, Aweber, or whatever you use, so that you can have that automatically send it off. Yeah, I'll just do that real quick. So if I delete this step, then I can do in here, I'm going to search for ActiveCampaign because that's the email marketing tool that I use. Now, ActiveCampaign is not free, and it's not a particularly cheap tool, but it's incredibly powerful, but you don't have to go with it if you have another tool of choice. So what I'm going to do is create or update a contact. So I already have ActiveCampaign set up in here, so I'm just going to continue to the next step. Otherwise, you'd have to authenticate it with ActiveCampaign. And then it's basically going to ask you what list do you want to put them in. I've just created a test group, and then all of the information that you want it to pull from the PayPal donation or PayPal sale. So you can grab the person's email, you can grab the person's first name, you can grab the person's last name, and essentially all that this is doing is it's taking the information that they've provided to you through PayPal and it's creating a contact within your email service. So then full name, there should be an option here for full name, but if not, then just do first name, last name. You might want a space in between. Phone number, if they provided that on PayPal. Honestly, I'm gonna skip that. But then tag, what I'm gonna do for tag, because what ActiveCampaign does is you can have various tags on your contacts. So for example, you can have a tag when someone becomes a patron on Patreon at the $25 amount. You can put a $25 tag. When they unpledge, you can put a tag on that says former $25 patron. You can have tags for people who have signed up to your mailing list. You can have tags for people that you met at a specific conference and signed up there while you were promoting something. You can have all sorts of different tags, and it's just basically a way of saying, okay, this person I want to be associated with this, not necessarily group, because you can have separate email lists, but a tag is really powerful in triggering functions. So you can say when somebody opens an email, you can add a tag to them. When someone signs up for a specific mailing list, you can start them off on a series of emails, and once they've completed those emails, they get a tag. There's so many different powerful things that you can do with tags, and what I'm specifically going to do in this case is, because we have this filter set up as anytime that there's a donation less than $50, we're going to add a tag to their account that's basically going to be a less than $50 PayPal donation. So we could call it sub 50 PayPal donation. And basically when that tag is added onto their account, then we can go into ActiveCampaign and trigger off an automation based off of when they got that tag added to their account. Then it shoots off the email, and that's actually linked up to your personal email, so you can have ActiveCampaign send it off from an email address that you own. So in this case, because we're simply creating and updating the contact in ActiveCampaign, that's really all that I want is the email, first name, last name, and the tag. And I'm not really going to worry about any of the rest of this stuff. So I'm going to hit test and review, and basically it says a contact was sent to ActiveCampaign just now. It has their subscriber ID, says that a contact was added, and I'm going to go and test that out real quick. So here I am in ActiveCampaign. I've got, all of my contacts blurred out for obvious privacy reasons, but you can see here at the very top, there's test account at Zapier.com with the tag sub 50 PayPal donation. So we're going to use that now, that tag, in order to trigger an event. So basically it created a new contact because there wasn't someone with this email address already in my contacts list. If there was someone with that email address, it would have searched through, found that person, and added the tag to the existing contacts account. In this case, it created a new person and then added that tag to their account. In either case, when they make the PayPal donation and they get that tag, that's when the addition of the tag to their account is what's going to trigger the automatic email. So in ActiveCampaign, you'll see this little thing over here, automations. And so we're going to click on that, and we're going to create a new automation up here in the top right. Now, they have a bunch of different preset automations. I'm just going to do start from scratch. And I'm going to click continue. And for the start trigger, we're going to search for tag. And we're going to click tag is added. And it'll give us a list of all the different tags. So, or in this case, we're just going to, type it in. It says sub 50 PayPal donation. We only want this to run once, or we could set it up to run every single time that they make a PayPal donation. We could have multiple times so that they always get an email saying thank you every single time that they do a donation. In this case, I'm just going to do once. For the action, we're going to do send email, and we're going to create an email to send. This is not the subject. This is only for you to see with an ActiveCampaign. We're going to do sub 50 PayPal donation email. So now you should see a bunch of different templates that you can do. You can also create an email from scratch. Sometimes it's kind of nice having their templates that you can set up. You can also hover over these and click preview to kind of see what the email would look like. So you can have like your logo up here, an image, a little buy now button. In this case, I'm just going to create it from scratch, and I'm just going to do a standard one. Now, the email subject is what they will see as the subject of the email. So I'm going to do thank you so much for your donation. And click continue. Also there at the top, it had my name and the email that it would be coming from. So here for the email body, I'm going to write dear, and now there's this personalized button, so you can actually put the name of the person. So I'm just going to do full name because that's first name and last name. Thank you so much for your generous donation. For this image, you can literally put whatever you want, or you can just scrap it. It is kind of nice to have like a little image, but this is a kind of a bare bones thing. So we'll go ahead and leave it at this. Now make sure you click this little gear icon because that'll let you edit the subject. The pre-header text is also, it's what shows up on like mobile phones and in your email is kind of this preview of what the email's like. I don't know if you leave that blank, what shows up. I'm assuming it just grabs it directly from the email, but I just paste it in anyways. I don't know if the personalized full name shows up in the pre-header text or not. Reply to email, if you leave that blank, then it'll basically just reply to the from email. Otherwise, you can put in a different email that you want them to respond to. And then there's a little spam check here at the bottom. So like, let's say that you have a bunch of links and stuff, and you have a ton of things, words and phrases that are kind of like, hey, free Viagra that you can get now, then it's going to fail the spam test. But if you're just sending like a typical email, then you're probably going to pass. And then you can send a test email to your email address. Now, your test email is going to have to go to a different email than what you sent it from, but you can put in a different email and test it out here. And you can also preview it in your email client or desktop preview. For now, I'm just going to hit close. I've got that pretty much set up how I want to do it. I'm going to hit next. So now that I've got everything set up here, I'm going to click finish. And you'll notice that this automation it's set up, but it's inactive. So in order for this to work, you'd have to activate this automation. And then whenever someone gets the tag, then it would fire off this automation. Now, in order to finalize this, you would jump back over here to Zapier, which you have set up to automatically, if it's less than $50, add the tag to their account in Zapier. If you turn that Zap on, now it should be active. So now when someone makes a donation on PayPal that's under $50, they should automatically be added into your email suite. And then that should automatically, by them getting that tag, it'll instantly fire off that email that says, hey, thank you so much for your donation. It means the world to me. And that actually comes from your personal email address. Now, I should say, in order for this to work, you'd obviously have to already have ActiveCampaign set up. There's tutorials and stuff on their website on how to do that, but this is just showing you the technicalities of once you have both of these tools set up, how you can go about it. Yeah, let me know if you found this useful. If you did, then definitely hit that like button and drop a comment below just to help me in the algorithm. So thank you.